Should be live. Good afternoon, everybody. It is Wednesday, which means it's another Monday. It's Monday, Straight Talk with Sue. Is it the pandemic, Doc McGinnis? Is it like, do you have trouble keeping track of the days of the week, or is it just us?
No, I think working at home, it's like every day runs together.
It does, doesn't it? And I mean, I used to have a weekend, and I don't feel like I have a weekend anymore either. They're just extensions of the work week.
Exactly.
Anyway, I digress. It is Monday, so it's time for another Straight Talk with Sue. And this Monday, we're actually really thrilled to be joined by a special guest from Humana Military. You know that Humana Military makes these Straight Talks possible. And once a month, one of their medical directors will be joining us for a special segment. And today, we're thrilled to have Dr. McGinnis with us. Hello.
Well, hello, good morning or good afternoon, depending where you live.
Right? And you're in Galveston, Texas. Is that where you are?
Galveston County. I don't live in the city, but in the north part of the county, a little town called Friendswood.
Oh, that sounds like a friendly town. That's awesome. So I don't mean to put you on the spot right away, but I was reading your bio and it's quite impressive. Like you've done everything. So do you mind if I put you on the spot for a little bit and ask you to tell everybody a little bit about yourself?
Well, it is Straight Talk with Sue, so if you have to.
Right to it.
So, well, thank you, Sue, and hello, everybody out there in the interwebs, as they say. I'm Pat McGinnis, one of the medical directors with Humana Military, and thrilled to be here and join you all. I'm not sure I've done a Facebook Live talk like this, so thank you, Sue, for this new experience. This Straight Talk initiative is pretty neat, and I assure you, I am going to give you the straight talk and live up to your theme, as I'll tell you about in a moment. But my background, as Sue alluded to, I have training in aerospace medicine and internal medicine and clinical informatics. I have 2 master's degrees and an MBA. As far as my career goes, I started with NASA here in the Houston area as a flight surgeon, taking care of our astronauts and taking care of their families, kind of like family doctor for them. Did a lot of work in the mission control, both here in the United States, and I spent considerable time in Russia because starting in the 1990s, we had a joint program with the Russians, and we sent several astronauts up to the old Russian space station called the Mir. Now we have the International Space Station up there. So I was working at NASA in the early days of the International Space Station too. Then I got interested in some other things. So I moved on to the business world and worked for a healthcare software company. And that is generally, what I was doing then is generally known as medical informatics. So I did that. Then I did similarly work for a big healthcare system here in Houston as their kind of computer doctor, helping all the practicing clinicians adopt and update all of our IT, electronic health record stuff, and always constantly improving those things so it's easier for those doctors to practice. So I did that for several years and then joined Humana Military. Well, it's closer to 4 years ago now. So really enjoyed this role. And I guess what might be more interesting for you all is that I also have a foot in your world. So I joined the Kentucky Air National Guard as a medical student. And this will give away my age, but I joined in 1985.
Most of us just don't remember. It's time to give away our age. We just kind of mumble it.
So anyway, I'm in the process of retiring now. I don't have all the paperwork in order, but I've had just a variety of interesting roles in the military as a flight surgeon, then working with the International Health Specialist Group, and most recently using my informatics background, working with the team doing it's called MHS Genesis implementation. So it's hard to believe, 85 to now, those years seem to go by in a flash.
They do, but one thing that I think about is, we have a friend in common, a friend and colleague in common, one of the astronauts, and whenever he tells his story, he's always like, "Well, one minute I was a pilot, the next minute I was an astronaut." And I'm like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa! You skipped all the things in the middle, and you made it sound like, one minute you're a pilot, and then all of a sudden you find yourself, as an astronaut, and that's just not the case." Like, I think you're the perfect person to talk to our topic today, because you don't get anywhere by accident. There has to be a lot of goal setting that takes place, and there has to be a lot of deliberate action. So I'm really excited for you to share your perspective and some of your insights on goal setting. I mean, I'd love to just jump right into it if you don't mind.
Super, super. Yeah, let's go. So yeah, our theme today is setting goals and having a purpose. But here's where my straight talk comes, because the first topic
Right.
suggested to me
You're
was
throwing me under the bus.
called mindfulness. And, I'm not exactly the touchy-feely kind of guy. So I admit it, I'm not the best person to talk about mindfulness. So I know, Sue, you're going to fill in the gaps as we go
Yeah.
along. But yeah, setting goals, something I started doing in grade school and high school, and have had a lot of success with that. And I think it's important for our lives and our lifestyle to keep us sane and keep us on a normal track over the years.
No, I think you're right. And we tell our spouses too, like we have a lot of military spouse entrepreneurs, but all of the people in our community are military spouse professionals. And even if they're job seekers, or even if they're in a profession already, we encourage people to set a big, hairy, audacious goal every year, right? And then to
Yep.
set some also like smaller interim goals. So is that the kind of, mindset you have, or how do you approach it?
Yeah, I do it that way. And I just want to tell our viewers, I love your term, the big, hairy, audacious goal, which goes to one point. You don't have to look at this strictly from like science or medicine, but we can, and I'll get to that a little bit later. But setting goals is healthy for all of us. It's two sides of the same coin, I think. And you can have goals in many avenues of your life. For me, it was school and academics, but you have it for your marriage, you have it for your children, you have it for your job, you have it for financial goals, etc. And the way I kind of approach this to get to that big, hairy, audacious goal is that I like to set a goal that maybe is out of reach right now, but it's not out of sight. And
Ooh,
I'll
I love
give
that.
you just an example that now, I've fulfilled this goal for 4 weeks running, and it seemed impossible 4 weeks ago because I am not a morning person. But I found that my evenings were getting filled up with this, that, and the other thing, and my fitness level was going through the floor. And in the military, you want people to be fit,
Yep.
and we know it's important for the general population too. So I am involved in, it's not called boot camp, but it's kind of like a boot camp workout or fitness program. And they have classes Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 5 a.m., which
You lost
I
me at 5
finally
a.m.
started. Yeah. So yeah, 4 weeks ago, I finally started getting up at 4:30 and getting to the class for the workout from 5 to 6. And so far, cross my fingers. I've been doing that for 4 weeks. So it's that kind of thing. You have a goal, you figure out how you're going to get to it, and then you change your habits little by little to to get to that goal, and it actually affects your overall character, I think.
Well, you've passed the threshold because I remember when we moved to Okinawa and, we had to learn how to drive on the other side of the road. They said, give yourselves 21 days. It takes about 3 weeks for your brain to kind of make that transition, and then it'll just come naturally to you. So it sounds like you've passed the 3 week threshold. Your chances of getting up at 4:30 every morning are significantly higher now. Until there's a bad like storm or something.
Right,
All
right.
bets are off the table. No, that's amazing. And I imagine that like in the middle of the pandemic as well, like you alluded to, it's important, I think, for everyday life for everyone to have those goals because life happens, right? Like
Yeah.
you might have had a routine before the pandemic, and then now you find that, well, life happens, the kids are at home, the spouse is at home, we're both working, splitting space, and I'm cooking more meals now. And then people don't make time for their routines. They don't make time for their goals. You're right. Like what, is, I mean, what can they do to get back on track, I guess, like during a pandemic, right?
Yeah, good point. And it was very interruptive for all of us. And you had to shift and readjust to, in some cases, homeschooling became the
Right.
thing. And so you've got your job that you're trying to do, and now you're home with your spouse and with the kids. So what goal setting does, I think, is that it creates these habits, and you can kind of get back into a routine. So and if you've done it in one area successfully, like school or finances or your work, then I think it's transferable when the situation gets upended, because you
Right.
got to figure out, okay, what do I have to do now to get from here to there? And the goals may not be BHAGs, the big, hairy, audacious
Right.
ones. It may be, kind of on a day to day with the pandemic. Okay, what do I need to do to get my work done today? What do I need to do to get the grocery shopping done today? What do I need to do to be sure that the kids have their lessons done today?
Right.
So interruptive, but you still fall back on similar habits.
As an example that, I'm just going to share some of my goals, which are not BHAGs. And I mean, they don't even seem aspirational, but to me, they were aspirational because I was losing control of my day. And so I made a simple goal to like separate my work and my personal life. I'm like, I'm not going to work on the weekends. I just did that this weekend. We're 7, 8 months into the pandemic, and I just figured that out. But I'm like, you know what? No one is, we're not curing cancer here, at least not what I'm doing. So I'm like, I can just stop working on a Friday and not pick up the phone again until Monday. And let's be real, it didn't work very well. I was checking emails on Sunday, fine, but at least I had Saturday, right? And so that was a goal. And then the other goal was that, you know what? I am going to make a goal to cook more often, but I'm not going to make it like every single day. So let's eat out, let's do carry out, support our local restaurants once or twice a week. But I mean, I found that those little goals actually make me feel really good because then it doesn't feel so um I don't know, it doesn't feel so selfish when we're like, let's just take out. I just can't for another day because I made it part of our plan, right? So then I have a commitment to cook the other days, or then I have a commitment to like hang out with the family on those days when I was working before, which it's actually made our lives a little bit easier because we're managing the expectations. So I see what you're saying about goal setting. Even the small goals bring normalcy back to our lives. So like
Yeah,
creating a separation between work and play. So I appreciate that.
exactly.
There's got to be some science that backs this up though. And so like I'm putting you on the spot again, but is there science that backs this all up?
Yeah, like I kind of mentioned, a lot of this I think is common sense, but yes, there is science to back it up. Um, but first, let's stick with the before we get to the hardcore science, just general literature. There are a ton of books out there, what you'd call self-help books, that talk about setting goals and how good it is for us. So some positive ones that you may be aware of. An old one, a classic, is Norman Vincent Peale's The Power of Positive Thinking. That was published in 1952. And his rule number one is picture yourself succeeding. So that's basically visualizing your purpose. And then from there, you could switch over to I have a purpose, I have steps to get to that. So that's like seeing your goal in your mind then. A more recent book that's been very popular is from Stephen Covey, published in
Oh,
1989, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. I'm not sure that I have all 7 of them, but I got a couple of them. But related to goal formation, habit number 2 is to begin with the end in mind. Again, like Norman Vincent Peale's book, you are projecting out into your future and to know where you want to be, and that is goal setting. Habit number 3, he says, is first things first, which I think is very important because we need to set a priority to our goals in the order of importance. When you have that, as you say, the big, hairy, audacious goal, you still have to prioritize ones that lead up to that. And then I think there are hundreds of titles like that, if not thousands. And I had to do a little research for this. And that series of books called The Dummies,
I wrote one.
Did you really?
I did. I wrote a Family's Guide to the Military for Dummies.
Wow, I didn't know that. That's
Yeah.
fantastic. Well, there's even a dummies book out there. It's called Success Habits for Dummies.
Love it.
And chapter 5 is all about goals. It's called Goals, and the goals are the power source of achievement.
No, that makes total
So,
sense. And you know what's funny is I think sometimes goals, the word goals just sounds so aspirational, and it's really not. It's just the practice of introducing rigor into your daily life and your schedule.
yeah,
So, I mean, I used to really lament at all those people who are out there doing amazing things. And I'm like, when I finally sat down and wondered, what's the difference between them and myself? Like, why aren't I doing these? It dawned on me that they're just saying yes to opportunities. And it wasn't an accident. And then the other thing is when they're achieving these great things, it's because they set out a goal and wrote a roadmap to how, like you were saying, you can imagine yourself there and then how are you going to get there? And they were following their roadmap. So,
yeah.
like, I think everyone who's listening can appreciate that there are people out there that they look at and they're like, how did they achieve that? And it doesn't happen by accident. We go back to our friend the astronaut. Don't listen to him. He didn't one day just find himself an astronaut. You didn't just one day find yourself where you are. We all took very deliberate steps and made very deliberate decisions to get there, and that's where goal setting comes in, right?
That is. And you and I talked offline about our mutual friend, and he is just an exemplary individual. And I'm sure he got where he is just by following this path that we're talking about today. And man, he's a great example for
Right.
us, for young people. I just have a world of respect for him.
And I think
I
another thing,
promise. Oh,
I'm sorry, another thing he would say
that,
is also like listen to the mentors, because I think that was really key for him is like, if you were to, knowing that you have these fitness goals and you achieve them, if I were, wanting to set a fitness goal, I would probably call you up and say, Doc McGinnis, how did you even get started? How do I set that goal? So I think that's another key part is look at somebody who's already achieving what you're achieving and just ask them, like, how did you get there? How'd you get started?
right. If he can do it, I can do it. Or if she can do it, I can do it.
Right. Because if I can
So,
see it, then I can do it. No, this is awesome.
yeah.
And so
Well,
another thing that you and I had talked offline about is the science of human flourishing, which is
yes.
fascinating because we all, like in the NMSN community, we have a friend named Nancy Belmont who came in and spoke to us about flourishing. And
Oh.
so this is, like it's been teased. So people understand flourishing. So I'd love to hear your take on that.
Well, like I said, I did a little bit more research other than just talking about my experience. And I didn't know this, but Harvard University has a whole academic program to study purpose. Um, so this academic program is called the Human Flourishing Program. And I don't know if you can display the website, but I'll just say it out. I mean, you could look up the Human Flourishing Program and find it there, but it's https://hfh.fas.harvard.edu/about.
I think our
So,
team's going to post it in the comments for you.
okay, okay. So yeah, that I thought that was pretty good. And what's, what is neat to me is that, okay, I would normally have said, well, this is common sense. You set your goals and you go, but they've put a little discipline around it and tried to ferret out, okay, well, what aspects are there that make you successful with goal setting, or in this case, flourishing, and goal setting is a part of that. Um, and I think there is a graphic that we're going to post on there, but basically there were four really strong components to reaching this flourishing and to reaching meaning and purpose. And they are family, work, education, and then a religious community. And with the researchers at Harvard, this human flourishing was correlated very well with these things coming together in one form or fashion.
No, I love it. And I love that we're talking about this on a Monday because it just sets the week up with a very positive start, right? And, my eyes keep going down because I'm tracking questions. So it's not that I'm not paying attention. So I have some questions for you. You're not getting off the hook. So some questions that are coming in is, how do you go about setting goals? If you're not in the practice of setting goals, how would you recommend people start?
Yeah, good question. I can tell you what has worked for me, and I keep coming back to your BHAG. I see what is out there, and that I say, okay, I want to get there, and but it may be out of reach today. So then I have to divide it up by time and with smaller goals. So I figure out what steps I can do to get there. Like you look at somebody that is there already, and like you reverse engineer, what did they
Yeah.
do to get there? And you think, okay, go back 5 steps, and whatever time it takes, then you get to where something is attainable for you. So
So roadmap it.
just the simple thing that I've done with the fitness.
Yeah.
I see other people can get up at 4:30 in the morning and work out. Why can't I? So I think you divide it into one step at a time to get you to where you want to be, whether it's this week, next month, or next year.
And I love that. So it's not, but you have to do the practice. You have to put yourself through the practice of setting a big, hairy, audacious goal and then doing the smart goals in between, like roadmap it and then take it into
Yes.
time. And the other thing is, I don't want people to get analysis paralysis where they look at it and they're like, yeah, no, I'm not doing that. That's just too far away. Like they should just start. Don't you think half of it is also just starting? Like just start on the journey. And if your goals aren't realistic, you can always rewrite them or adapt them, right?
Right. Yeah. Start on the journey, and you'll learn. And you'll
Right.
learn if this isn't the right path for you, or this isn't the right path for you, or you're not, particularly good at one activity or another. You redirect, and maybe even your goals change. So, but being on that journey will take you to some great accomplishments, even if your goals change along the way.
What is it? Even if you shoot for the moon and miss, you'll still land among the stars.
That's right.
That sounds really appropriate for today. So that also actually answered the second question, which was we talk about big goals. Is there a way to start small? So we answered that. So the last one is there a way to up your chances of success? Should we get an accountability partner?
Yeah, I guess that's good, or maybe even a coach.
Oh yeah.
You or a mentor, someone uh, that you admire or trust. Maybe this accountability partner can be that for you, so that if you misstep and you don't reach your first goal or your second goal, you've got a cheerleader and an advisor to help you regroup and go at it again. So, but yeah, an accountability partner. Sometimes it helps to write things down.
Oh, absolutely.
You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
I found that makes you think through the steps you want to get from A to Z, or A to G, whatever that is. So those are a couple of ideas. A partner, a coach or a mentor or writing things down.
No, I love that. And I mean, I love scratching things out. So sometimes I'll make a list just so I can scratch things off as done. But I think the visualization of seeing a calendar, like if your goal was to go to the gym and work out every day for a month, then the visualization of a calendar and being able to put an X every day, so satisfying, right?
Yeah.
So satisfying. No, I love
Great.
that. So I'm gonna ask you again for the major takeaways. So let's see if we can throw 5 out there, 3 to 5 takeaways.
Gosh, well, 3 to 5 takeaways. First of all, set the goal. Second, visualize you getting to those goals and the various steps to help you. Third, put them in priority so that you're doing the most important things first. And probably fourth, take the first step. You know, the first step for me in my little example of working out was set the alarm and don't turn it off.
I was gonna say, did you set it for
clock.
3 and then snooze every 20 minutes till 4:30?
Yeah.
Because that would be someone else, me. No, that's awesome. Like, I feel like we've been talking for 25 minutes and this has just flown by. Thank you so much for sharing your time and talents with us and your insights. I really, really appreciate it. This is a topic that's very important to our spouses, this goal setting. And I mean, I love the way you brought it back to our everyday. So it's not just in your career, it's not just in your business, but it's also for your everyday life. Because if you're not, I mean, we can't bifurcate the person. Like, I'm not the professional me and the personal, it's all one person, right? And so if we don't look at it holistically, if you don't stay healthy, nothing else matters. So I really appreciate this. And you're right. I mean, my biggest takeaway is that goal setting may seem like a pain in the butt because you may not think you have time for it, but it seems like the surest way to bring normalcy back into our lives is that we kind of set the goals to get that reset going. So thank you so much. If you guys have any other questions for Dr. McGinnis, I'll give him a chance to say his last words, but drop them in the comments and we will send them to him over at Humana, and then they will get the answers to us and then we will send them back to you. But last words, Dr. McGinnis?
Well, what a pleasure it is for me to be part of this network and to offer some hopefully good advice.
Great advice.
And it's still neat that the common sense lines up with the science about this stuff. So good luck, all of you, in your next big, hairy, audacious goals. And I don't know if I'll get invited back for another topic, but this was really enjoyable, Sue.
Thank you so much. Have a great week. Bye, guys. Bye.